Hello everyone, happy Hallows Eve, and we're about to watch the 2 episode finale of Agatha All Along. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen, especially because I have to say this is probably one of the most enjoyable shows that we've gotten from the Disney Plus Marvel side of things. Definitely ranking in one of the better shows for sure, aside from WandaVision and Loki. And personally for me, I liked Miss Marvel, so but come at me for that. But I have to say this is probably one of the most well executed shows in a long time, especially one where we are introduced to a character where we really don't know much about, and then still integrating elements from the Marvel universe that, you know, it still hooks you. And I think last week's episode is a very great testament to how well the show has been run, how it is well executed. We saw what we knew, kind of bits and pieces, like we knew something was happening to Lilia, and yet it's just like, okay, well, how is this going to bounce back to why this is relevant with the story that we have? And after last week's incredible episode, it definitely sets up a high expectation that, okay, if we can get an episode like that, are we hopefully going to get a very satisfying 2 episode conclusion? Now, I've said this before, I think I even said this last week, that I'm going to be very cautiously optimistic that this show will land, because the last thing I ever want to have this feeling of is that that's going to bomb. I'm gonna be very optimistic and hope that's not, but I also have to be very skeptical because I've had my own fair share. Especially for those who have been following this channel for a long time, you would know that I've had my fair share of, you know, enjoying a series only for the ending to really bomb. But I'm gonna hope that's not gonna be the case here. I hope that it is gonna be magical. It's going to be fantastical. There's still a lot of big questions that we still have, like Rio Vidal, like how is she going to be integral? We're going to assume at some point that we're going to get a little bit of an idea of what happened to Nicholas Scratch, how that's associated with the Darkhold. Could we be seeing Mephisto? Could we be seeing some other surprises? And then, of course, having seen the trajectory of where the show has been going, we are seeing a little bit of a pattern that in this Witch's Road, not everyone's going to make it. We've been seeing fatalities each and every episode. We saw that happening with Lilia. We saw that happening with, was it Sharon in the very first trial of this whole Witch's Road. We saw that happen with Alice. And now I think we're gonna, you know, I guess at this point we can certainly be confident that Jen might be the next victim. And it's just going to come down to either Billy or Agatha. Who's going to make it? We don't know. But again, this has been a very well done show. I mean, this has been a very incredible journey. And I'll leave all the, you know, the conclusions and just the farewells and whatnot at the end. But yeah, I have to say this has been a pretty amazing journey so far. I've had a really great time watching Agatha All Along. If you haven't, I mean, if you're watching this, of course you're watching it, but I'm hoping that this will be a show that catches on with a lot more people. I mean, the timing of it is absolutely great. I mean, the final episodes are coming out the day before Halloween. So, what a perfect way to really put this series in the most best time possible, and making so that we are having quite a witchy season. So, I mean, I don't even want to wait any longer. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right down into the 2 episode finale of Agatha All Along. Isn't that Alice? What's going on? I'm assuming this is like purgatory. She's taking their souls.
Man, I can really do something with my life now.
You're a protection witch.
Yeah.
You died protecting someone.
No! Lilia! Lilia! No! Lilia! Lilia!
You're a big girl. I knew you'd figure it out eventually.
He is an abomination.
He is disrupting the sacred balance. And I know how you feel about him.
Oh, please, I've known that. You call what you did special treatment.
We're gonna talk about Nicholas, huh? We got some talking.
And that's usually your move, right? About Nikki.
There's more to the story, I see.
Because the truth is too awful.
Not yet, anyway.
What do you mean?
The son of the Scarlet Witch stole a second life. I can't let him do the same for his twin. I have to take him.
Okay.
And take him.
On.
If Billy is killed, he'll reincarnate again, and then you'll lose him. You need him to turn himself in. If I deliver Billy, you let me go.
You will eventually die.
What? The heck? We're at the end of the road?
We're back where we started.
I think this.
It!
Oh boy.
Maybe we passed the trial.
Then how exactly do we get off?
Well, maybe.
Aww.
We keep going.
What? Screw the road! Hello?
What in the world?
Hello? Hello?
What? What is going on here?
Jeez.
Oh, I think this is a trial.
Where are we?
Who's this?
You seem
It's gotta be
relaxed.
Jen's.
Usually at this point, you're either...
No, I never knew you ever passed through there, that's all.
Are you the one who bound me? I don't know.
What? You?
Non-stop sociopath.
You're the one who
Oh, she got her powers back.
The road gave her what she was missing. And now she's gone. This can end right here, right now. We're gonna find your brother.
No, she's playing mind tricks on you, but dude.
That's what. Time to grow up.
This is starting to be a bad idea.
It's there. Try.
That's being the
You
hex.
was 10. You lived in Westview.
Your mother and I, very proud of you both.
Boys, thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
Oh, I remember that. Oh.
About the sound of him. It stops because everything else does.
It's your mother folding her world. That's okay. It's okay.
We have said goodbye before, so that's the reason.
Keep your eyes closed, no matter what.
Oh. This was in the trailer.
Keep him. So where does he go? He looks
Ah.
What does he see?
He's afraid.
Oh, but he has you with him now.
I can't find a place.
Don't give me that. 120 bodies empty out every minute.
Heck, they tricked him. He's gonna drown. It's a bad place.
Oh, it usually is.
The people, the family, there's no one to love him. He's gone.
Oh. What just happened? He's also been released. Did we find Tom?
Please.
Isn't that Westview? Oh.
Is it happening again?
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Oh boy.
I am the natural order of all things, baby.
Mm.
And you love me.
Oh. Oh, that's the first. Oh, the potion that Jen used. Man, Aubrey Plaza going so hard! Oh my god! Oh. Hey, he's in the costume! Oh my god! It's the costume! It's the costume! Yikes. Yikes, yes, yikes. Yikes. Oh, she's back in her costume. She's back in that costume. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Oh. 2v1.
That's my choice. Take me.
Oh boy.
Take him.
Oh, she tricked you. Oh, I knew it. My tricks.
It's over. Coven the switch.
Is this how Nikki died?
Oh, he got you there. Oh, everyone's gonna blow up now. What just happened? Did she? Oh, she gave herself up. Oh shit. Yo, what's gonna happen in the final episode? What the?
Here we go.
Where's Jen? He's doing the exact same thing that his mom did. Well, you know what I'm saying. That's what Wanda did. Oh my god. Like brother, like son. Oh, she's somewhere.
You are the
huh?
magician. You have enormous potential.
What's going on?
Now this is a house. Right off your vision board. Even with the sigil in the way, you and your mother have the same town.
It was me.
So we're going back to that memory. Oh, is she in labor? She's in labor. this is even more devastating.
Forever. Oh, please let him live. Please, my love. Please. Ah, please.
Yes. Nicholas. Join us.
Why is she giving off some weird vibes? Oh, is she trying to take their magic? Yeah. He knows the song.
Walk, walk the road. I walk the windy road.
Ah, it's a version of it.
Walk, walk, walk the down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Down, down.
Young boy, wherever did you come upon such a curious song? Come.
Oh,
Let's just find you a warm meal.
sick.
My sisters and I can help.
Oh, he's getting sick. His time is coming.
Vicky. Vicky.
Oh no, that's happening. Oh no.
Nikki? Nikki?
Forgive me. I heard your singing. I thought you may know the way.
The way to what?
The Witch's Road. I heard tell of it. The road off.
First, we must gather a coven.
Oh.
Down, down, down the road. Beneath the wooded shrub.
Pathetic.
Oh, she's tempted. Huh. So she was ready to steal some powers, eh?
Boo!
What in the world?
I saw you die.
Oh my
I
gosh.
saw you die.
By the way, I did not sacrifice myself for you. I took a calculated risk.
Wait, Agatha.
Yeah.
The road.
You opened
What about
it.
it? Did I make the road?
I think you may have.
The road wasn't real until you made it real.
Ah.
So you're saying that all of that,
Wasn't
everything
real.
we went through.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You call it
Means that I
creative
killed them.
Yeah.
Are they ghosts too?
Oh, that's even worse.
I'm a murderer. She didn't even belong on the road, and now she's dead because of me.
Yes, the gardening lady. Don't give yourself too much credit.
You helped them.
If you actually do the math on it, you saved a life.
Jen. Wow, Jen made it. Oh, we all thought she was gonna die.
Looks like analog magic.
Why do I feel like I've seen this before? Mother. Oh.
Phantasma. Ware ad lucem. Relinque terram. Nalia se phantasma.
What are you doing?
I'm banishing you.
Oh.
Ware ad lucem. Relinque terram. I really don't care anymore.
Oh.
Ware ad lucem. Relinque terram. Nalia se phantasma. Ware ad
You
lucem.
can't
Because I can't face him!
Oh.
Coven 2?
I do tend to kill my coven members.
Oh, yeah.
So do I.
Aww.
Let's go find Tommy.
So there you have it. That was the finale of Agatha all along. And I have to say, I did not expect that this was going to be how it would end, but I also would have to give props because honestly, I think we all were like predicting like some of the most expected kind of endings. Like, I think a lot of us were, well, let's go with the fact that, okay, so let's talk about the fates really quickly. So a lot of us thought, you know, watching this show, we're gonna go see, you know, having seen the patterns that Jen is the one who was going to die, right? Only to see that she actually ended up surviving. And the last person to die was actually indeed Agatha. I think a lot of us were pretty 50-50 about whether or not it was going to be Billy or Agatha was going to make it. I think it was going to sway to Agatha passing away just because we just met Billy and Billy's so young. It's like, okay. And then there's also the big question of, well, are we going to see Tommy? Are we not going to see Tommy? So I have to say, I think with the execution of the finale, I think it is worthwhile. It makes a lot more sense why they made it to episode finale because you can't, because honestly, the penultimate episode did feel as if it was the finale. Like that was the end. We see the conclusion of Agatha's life. She basically gives up her life in a sense of indirectly saving Billy, even though there's a lot of mind tricks that was going on in her mind. And she ultimately made a decision. And then, of course, we kind of have what it looks to be like the finale, like the final episode being the epilogue. So it did feel as though that, you know, the penultimate was technically the final, and then what we got here was the epilogue. Like, okay, well, what really did happen, what not happened. And then, of course, I think the fact that we have this revelation right here, I have to say that one is very clever. This is a very clever revelation that the Witch's Road never existed at all. It never was. It was just created by Billy. And I was just like, wait a second. And then, like, I was like looking at the finale, I'm like, and it's like, okay. And then, of course, we see in the finale that he indeed did create it, that anytime that Agatha had, you know, done the Witch's Road thing, she actually would lure witches who think that exists, only to not be the case. And it seems so that she initially was going to finish off the witches in front of her in the latest edition, only to see that, you know, there was a road, but that's only because of Wiccan. Wiccan was the one who created that that whole journey right there. And I mean, let's be honest, considering what could have had happened, he actually did save one. I mean, yes, it does feel heartbreaking knowing that, you know, because of the journey that he created, that there's a lot of people who did die. Alice, Lilia, Sharon, right? They all died during this road, but it was either they would be killed by the hands of Agatha or be killed in this journey where they feel like they're hopeful, where they've, you know, are able to end their lives with a resolution. I think the great thing about this show is that we did see, well, maybe not with Miss Davis, but at least with Alice and Lilia, I think one of the great things we saw with their arcs is that they had so much guilt and lots of, how do you say it? They were basically processing through a lot of negative energy. Let's go with that. Especially with Alice with her curse, and Lilia with just the fact that she can't seem to get the gap straight, only to see that both characters were able to redeem themselves right before they passed away. And it's like, at least they were able to die knowing that they did something very purposeful. And even with that being the case, right? Like, at least even with Jen ended up surviving. She was able to unbound herself. Because, I mean, let's be honest, I don't think there was really anything that she felt any guilt or embarrassment or anything shameful of. She just wanted to be unbounded. And at the end of the day, if there's one thing that, you know, comes out of this whole journey, is that, yes, Wiccan did save one person from Agatha, and that is Jen. Jen now gets to live her life knowing that she's no longer bounded. And And I mean, she's probably going to be living the happiest time of her life, right? So I have to say, I think just that revelation is very clever. I don't think any of us would have considered that was going to be the case. I feel like a lot of us were thinking something even more dire, even more intense, more thrilling, especially with the whole Lady Death thing. It's like, well, can you really kill off Lady Death? Because Lady Death is part of the natural selection of life. Like, she's going to be there. So it's like, okay, well, can you really take her out? And I think that this proves a point that she's not someone that you can easily like eliminate. She is part of life. It's just a matter of how it's gonna be done, right? And I think that overall it was well executed because I will say I think that it definitely went into a sense where it wasn't too predictable. I like it when things are not predictable because we tend to go in the predictable side, and yet it's like, okay, are they always satisfactory? Whereas here it's like, because it's defying our expectations and really kind of playing around with our theories, that's like, okay, well, like, will those kinds of stories be worthwhile? And I think that's one of the reasons why we've enjoyed shows like Loki, right? Like, we're like, okay, we know about the whole idea of timeline and time loops. We know what's going on, especially in season 2, when they have the whole situation with the multiverse kind of going wonky. And then the time loop or something. I can't remember what was that thing called, but you know what I'm saying. Only to see that, you know, because the fact that the time loop, or that the fact that they could not contain the branches, that they had to really go out of the box and really showcase a much different ending that is very bittersweet for Loki, right? We see him become a very redeemable very redeemable hero, anti-hero, in a way that it meant giving up his own self-will so that way he can allow everyone else to live their lives. So that way it doesn't require having to eliminate all those branches. And we see that here in a similar sense where we see Wiccan, yes, what he did, I mean, it did lead to the deaths of Alice and Lilia, but it wouldn't have changed either way because of the fact that Agatha had planned to, you know, take their powers and kill them, only to see that something else happened. And I love this because I think just looking at this finale, it's just like, wow, this is, because as much as the fact that, again, I know a lot of you guys were commenting about this, like, oh, technically Billy's not really Wanda's kid because that's because he doesn't really remember her, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know. I just love my Wanda, okay? I love my Wanda. That's just me kind of playing around a little bit, just trying to be dry with my humor. But I do love Wanda. But yeah. But even that being the sense, you still have to acknowledge that what we just saw in this episode and just the revelation of it, right? It's not far from what we saw with WandaVision. Because same thing with what we saw in WandaVision. Wanda creates her own world with this hex, imagining her own kind of reality of how she wants her family life, knowing the fact that she's going through so much grief. And eventually, once she realized what the consequences were, she eventually had to undo it. She realized what she had done and she tried to resolve it. And here it's not so different. Like, even though this is not exactly the Billy that Wanda knows, and this is not the Billy that remembers Wanda, what we do see in this episode, and just this whole show just giving us an idea of, is that he is someone who does feel lost. He wants his brother. He's missing him. He wants to find some sort of resolution to it. And in a sense, he does imagine this witch's road that he thinks will be the resolution to finding his brother, only to see that, you know, there were some consequences along the ride. And we can see they're both manifesting similar powers. They both have it. I mean, I love the fact that we got to see Wiccan's comic book accurate costume. I love that. But it shows where we can see a lot of this parallelism between Wanda and Billy, even though, again, I know they're not associated with each other. This Billy, or this version of Billy / William, doesn't even really know Wanda, doesn't really have connection to her. He actually has a mom that he's far more connected to, but it doesn't take away the fact that they have some similarities, and we're seeing that here. They have, because of the fact that the Billy's has now taken over and possessed this new body, there are still elements of him where he does have Wanda in him. And so I think that we do see that parallelism between WandaVision and Agatha all along. It makes sense why they're based companion pieces, because they're just so interconnected, not just simply because of the fact that, of course, they have the same characters. They have some of the similar characters, especially with Agatha being the connection. But we see kind of how, you know, this is kind of, I wouldn't say repeating itself, but we see a pattern with what's happening with some of the characters, whether or not, again, we really want Mom to be back. But yeah, but then of course, you know, that doesn't mean that this is it, right? We know for a fact that Vision Quest, or at least that's what's being titled right now, that's going to be the third companion piece to this whole saga, right? Or at least this whole side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's definitely going to be questions about that. Like, how is that going to impact everything that's going on with Agatha? I mean, that one seems the most different out of all of them, because I mean, I would imagine that Vision Quest is not going to require a lot of magic, a lot of fantasy, nothing of that some sort. But I wonder what that right's going to be, because I would imagine that we're going to be following White Vision, not the Vision that we've known. So yeah, there's that. That was kind of something I wanted to mention, because you know, the fact that we have this series that's now concluded, what does this mean for Vision Quest, right? Because that's going to be the companion piece, the third part of the series that can complete this companion piece. So there are gonna be questions about that. Now, I will say that it is very interesting to see that even with this journey, we see some sort of reconciliation between Agatha and Billy, right? I mean, technically speaking, there is kind of a history because of the whole Wanda Maximoff thing. Then we saw what happened in the Witch's Road, everything that transpired over there. The fact that they do end off with basically kind of creating their own coven, a coven of two, right? Duo. And even mentioning how they're going to try and look for Tommy. It does make me wonder if this is implying that, well, it makes me think that they're going to be returning at some point. More likely with Billy, of course. I'm not sure about Agatha, but it does open the doors to whether or not this is a show that will continue itself. Especially the question of will there be a season 2, because the way it just ended, it really opens the door for just a lot more to explore, especially the fact that now the next journey forward is going to be looking for Tommy. Because we've now completed the Witch's Road. Let's go and find Tommy. Now, is Tommy really out there? We don't know. I mean, it kind of seems as though that we kind of got this implication that he could actually be there, just that we don't know where he's at. Again, that's probably going to be a big question. Maybe there are some movies. So we got to remind ourselves that just recently, Marvel had just rescheduled their whole scheduling thing. Just removed Blade again. Of course, they're going to remove Blade again. Who knows? That movie's not going to get made. I swear to God. But there were some dates that were added. I believe it was for 2026. And I do wonder if one of them could be a potential Scarlet Witch movie, could be something regarding everything that's happened so far here. Or are we going to have a season 2 that's going to address a little bit more of what we're seeing here, like what the doors have now opened for Agatha or Billy? Or are we just never going to really explore, just keeping things open? I mean, we don't know yet. I mean, it's a matter of what the showrunner has in mind. It's a matter of what Kevin Feige has in mind. It's a matter of what the viewership is going to be. Because I think that's going to be the key thing. How has been the viewership? Is there enough of an attention or a retention from the audience and viewership that it would warrant a season 2? I think from what I've been following, this show has been pretty consistent with its viewership, unlike some of the other things that have happened in the Disney and Marvel. I think the Marvel and Star Wars, like especially Star Wars. I know Star Wars had a lot of viewer dipping, especially with The Acolyte. But here I feel like it's been very consistent because it's a very good show. It's a show that's managed to really execute its genre, its themes, its storytelling, doing this in a way that's very clever and, you know, unraveling the mysteries. And yet there are still a lot of questions even once we get to this finale. I mean, there's still a lot of big questions. And let me just jump on that really quickly, because there are still a lot of big questions. We still don't know how Billy managed to possess, you know, William Kaplan, I believe that was the kid's name. William. We don't know how he still manifested. We don't know how they're managing to do that, because technically speaking, they're not Wanda's kids. Wanda never had real kids. I mean, other multiverse versions have, other variants have, but not her. So how is this even possible? The fact that Agatha still is around, like, I mean, it seems as though that she didn't get, you know, taken by Lady Death. Who knows? Maybe I could be wrong about that. Who knows? Or maybe she is, you know, trying to evade her at all costs. Who knows? I mean, she did say that she didn't want to confront her son because then that raised another question. Like, okay, well, if her son was destined to be taken by Lady Death, does that mean that there was some sort of deal? Was there a deal that happened between Lady Death and Agatha that led to this course? Because we never really got an answer to that as well. Because when you look at the beginning of the episode, you would think that, okay, it just seems as though that she kind of knew that something was going to happen. She just didn't know it was going to happen to Nicholas. So it's like, okay, well, did she make a deal? What is that deal? Does that mean that we're going to see Mephisto? Look, we didn't get Mephisto. We never get to see Mephisto again, even though he was mentioned. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, we're gonna probably see Mephisto and her doing the deal, and that was completely not what happened. So another Mephisto deviation, and of course, like we're never gonna be able to get away from the whole Mephisto theory. So, but at least it wasn't as bad this time around, right? I mean, I still remember when WandaVision was coming out, like the Mephisto stuff was just out of control. But having said that, right, there's still some questions. That again, the series itself never really addressed, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe who knows if it ever will get addressed? Maybe not. Maybe they're purposely not going to answer those questions. Because I mean, honestly, it's like, okay, it's a bit of a complicated situation. There is a little bit of a loophole because again, we know so much about what's happened. So it's like, how does this really happen? But I think overall, this has been a very good show. And I feel like I have to also mention that this does kind of feel like, in a sense, Wicked, because like, isn't the whole idea that the wizard wasn't really a wizard, and that, you know, the journey that Dorothy and her friends had wasn't really real? And it's like, okay, so this kind of manifesting a little bit of Wizard of Oz as well, which is like, again, I love these references. I love the Easter eggs that we've gotten. I think this is a show that really honed on homaging everything that we know about witches and witch lore, whether it be in the movies or TV or literature. I think this is a show that's really done a good job of tributing to that, and I really love that. I think that this is one of those cases where the show has knew what it needed to do. It had a proper kind of series where there was a showrunner that knew what it needed to do in terms of having a complete episode from the beginning to the end. Even the last 2 episodes, right? The penultimate episode was a complete story, up until the fact that we had one final case that needed to be addressed, which again got into the finale right here. Even though the finale itself wasn't like a full-blown action-packed, I think it serves what it needed to serve, and I think that it may imply that there could be a season 2. Who knows? I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe we might not. Maybe we might. Who knows? Again, it's gonna come down to viewership. But I think overall, this has been a very incredible journey. In terms of how it compares to other shows and where it ranks, I mean, it's definitely not as good as WandaVision or Loki. I think they've set such a standard that it's just really difficult to be even better than those two, especially in Loki's case, because I think with the season 2, it really just did something incredible in terms of Loki's arc and his evolution and growth, even as like a variant. But I think this is a show that's definitely, I would say, would land in the top 5. I think it is worth with what it's done. Now it's just a matter of seeing where this is going to go. Like, are we going to see Billy? Are we going to see Agatha again? Are we ever going to see Wanda? I mean, I know I was a bit far-fetched with the whole Wanda theory, but I was just trying to keep up. I'm telling you, I love Wanda. I love the Scarlet Witch. So it's like, it's like, I want this redemption of what really happened in Multiverse of Madness. Not because I don't think Multiverse of Madness handled the whole villain thing poorly, anything like that. I think that it was a really cool concept. It's just that just because the execution wasn't that great. But who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, this marks the end of the journey right here. I mean, this is it. I think this is the last Marvel material we get this year, because we just had the one movie with Deadpool Wolverine. I think we had 2 or 3 shows this year. I know we had Echo. We had this. I don't remember if we had anything else. Maybe there was. I just can't remember. But yeah. And then, of course, this means this marks the end of the journey right here for this year. That doesn't mean that we won't have anything else happening, because we have a lot of Marvel stuff coming out next year. We got Captain America Brave New World. We got Fantastic Four First Steps. No Blade, but what I'm very excited about is Daredevil Born Again. We actually got, I don't know if you guys noticed, there was a trailer or a preview for next year's content of Marvel Disney Plus shows. And I'm so excited. I mean, the next show we're gonna get is Daredevil Born Again, and I cannot express how excited I am to see Daredevil, because if that's the next journey, that means, oh my god, I'm gonna be so invested in Daredevil, because I've actually watched the original Netflix series way back. I was like one of the original watchers. I mean, I still remember when the show got canceled, I was devastated, only like 3 years later to see that the whole rumors were coming up about Spider-Man and him eventually appearing, and then of course him showing up as She-Hulk being the only good thing about what happened in that show. But and then of course now I think we got a peek of him in FGO as well, but there was a snippet of him. I'm so excited. I'm still waiting on a trailer, the full trailer to see, because I know they're basically bringing back what we got from the Netflix version, and that means the maturity, the sophistication, the violence, I'm just so excited. But apparently it's also going to be even more violent than even the Netflix show. So I'm very curious about it. I'm very curious to see how they're gonna handle Daredevil, because again, that was a show that originally did started filming 2 years ago. Then they, I think Kevin Feige or something, we're looking over the material, and then because this was during the writers and actors strike, where it's like, okay, well, they can't really do anything, so let's just look at material. And then that's when we heard about, oh, they're just restarting the whole series because apparently it was not good. That's when they fired the writer, and then they brought in the writers from Loki, and so there's that whole mess, and then they basically had to refilm everything. And so I'm very curious to see how Born Again's gonna be, how it's gonna compare to the original Netflix series, and whether or not it will be able to maintain that violence and maturity and sophistication that I really loved from the original series. I mean, again, I've already seen the previews, and it looks really promising. The whole idea of Fisk becoming the mayor. We even see Vanessa's back, we even got to see Punisher that's back, but John Berthold's Punisher. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited to see. I'm excited that the fact that the next show that we're gonna have is none other than Daredevil Born Again. I'm very excited. I mean, let this be just a preview of my excitement for that show. I hope that I can get to talk a little bit more about it. I know I've been very busy, so I'll try my best to kind of be a little bit more involved up until the end of the year. But yeah, I'm so excited for Daredevil Born Again. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say about Agatha All Along. I mean, I think it was a really great journey that we had right here. I want to say thank you all for joining me on this ride. I mean, the last 2 episodes alone, I noticed there was quite a jump in viewership, which I gotta say thank you so much, everyone. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this without you, and I just hope that we can continue this journey on, whether it be stuff like watching trailers, talking about the movies, talking about the shows, talking about the news, talking about the latest big thing that's up in streaming, in the streaming world. But yeah, I hope that I get to continue this. I mean, I enjoy it for the most part, aside from my back kind of aching here and there. But I think this was a really nice journey that we had right here. And I hope you guys had a similar and great journey. So I think that just about concludes my whole reaction right there and my discussion about Agatha All Along. Let me know your thoughts having now seen the final 2 episodes. First off, what do you think this is going to mean moving forward for Agatha and Billy? What is their journey going to be like moving forward? Do you think they're going to be able to find Tommy? Knowing the fact that they do keep things open, does this mean that we're going to get a season 2, or are they going to show up somewhere else? Are they going to be appearing in a movie, or does this have to do with something that's already been happening with Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they have some of these dates that are a little bit secretive right now? What do you think is going to happen moving forward going into the series, right? How do you think this is going to affect something like Vision Quest? Does this mean that we're going to ever actually get to see Wanda and Maxima come back? I mean, we've seen the comments from Elizabeth Olsen in the past, and her stance has kind of changed recently. So it's like, does this open the doors for what could happen in the future? I mean, we saw what happened with Robert Downey Jr. Are you excited about what we're going to have for next year? We have a lot of movies coming up. We have a lot of shows coming up. The next TV show that we're going to have for the Marvel Universe is going to be Daredevil Born Again. So let me know your excitement for it. I mean, if you've seen the previews, what are your thoughts having seen that, and what you expect out of it? Let me know. And let me know if you have any other thoughts, concerns, just anything about Marvel general, Marvel TV. I mean, this is it. This is the last that we have right here. Let me know your thoughts below, and make sure to like and subscribe.